The Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. With your hosts, Joe Bond.
You're awful.
And AJ Applegarth.
It's Sin-Shu-Chu. It's a mouthful.
All right. Welcome to the Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. My name is Joe Bond, founder of FantasySixPack.net. With me, as usual, Mr. AJ Applegarth. What's going on, man?
Not too much.
What's your shirt say?
What does it say?
Bright pink and it's hard to read. Okay.
Bantam Barbie Jeep Race 2022.
Okay. You turned your mic, by the way, when you did that, just to let you know.
Yes. Yes, I did.
But okay. It's just a little hard to read. It's super bright.
Yeah.
All good though. All good.
Do I need to turn the light down a little?
Just put the sunglasses
I need to set the mood for you.
All right, guys. Well, tonight we're going to be hitting up the AFC West for our division previews. And before we get into that, though, just want to remind everybody to hit that subscribe, follow, like button, leave those ratings and those comments wherever you watch and listen. We appreciate it. And can't move forward either without letting you all know that we've got some memberships ready for you this season for fantasy football. Go to fantasysixpack.net/plans. Use promo code F6P early for 25% off right now. And there's two different packages. One with just the draft cheat sheet and some projections behind it. The other one is we include our Discord. We include our rankings. We're going to be throwing some more content behind it as we go along here. And that'll continue all season long for you. We would love to talk to you guys and help you out on our Discord channel. So go ahead and sign up to be a member for the Fantasy Six-Pack crew. And let's help you win a championship this year. All right. So let's... what's up?
I said sign up and join us.
Absolutely. All right, so let's jump into things here. And without further ado, let's bring on our guest of honor, and it is Mr. Howard Bender. Whoa, what's up, man?
What's up, guys? You busted me. I'm drinking beers. I'm talking on my phone. Oh, cheers. There we go. See?
Yes.
I come prepared for the Fantasy Six-Pack show
it.
every time, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
I love it. No, great to have you back, man. We love having you on. Great information, fun guest for sure. So, and speaking of beer, let's do my favorite segment.
Beer.
All right, Howard, you are the guest, so you can lead us off. What you got?
Oh, somebody urinated in a bottle that was labeled a Bud Light.
Some guy named Bud.
You guys know me.
Some guy named Bud.
I'm a King of Beers guy. I'm a Budweiser guy. I've always been that way. But, I put on everybody's COVID weight, apparently. So the wife switched me up to a little Bud Light for a little bit until I'm getting a little more slim and trim.
That's all good, man. It's all good. We got to go back to our college roots. Drinking the light.
Yeah, I think I'm going to just switch back to lighter beers for a while and then regain a tolerance for IPAs. Start back at some mid-range and then work my way. Yeah, I'm not. I don't know what I'm talking about.
All right.
So the one I put on for the show is the Log Yard Brewing Proper Notch Double New England IPA. It's got like an axe on it, so I was like, cool, why not? Haven't tried it yet. I'm still working on my Ninja versus Unicorn, so
that sounds fun.
I'm all out pink today. I don't know what's going on.
I like the pink. I gotta tell you, man.
Save the tatas, man.
Makes your eyes pop. You're looking good.
Thank you. This dark, dead behind the eye stare. The pink really brings it out.
Oh man. Alrighty. So I am drinking a Flying Dog. It's a seasonal release from them. It's a 451 juicy IPA. It's actually an 11%er, so this one's pretty heavy. So, so it's a pretty good
I was
one.
drinking a whole 6-pack of Bud Light.
Yeah, no kidding.
One beer apparently, and
I love the you know how Flying Dog always has a
makes
little
to the shelf.
sayings on the side.
Yeah,
This one's nice and short and sweet. Fuck censorship. That's it. That's all it says.
cool.
We good?
I concur.
A beer for the
As
kids.
I
I
just
love
cursed.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
So we good.
Not for the masses, just for the kids.
Yep.
Johnny, what are you drinking there? Ma, fuck censorship.
Oh man. All right. As I'm trying to type a tweet out at the same time and lead a show, not working very well, but we'll get this here. All right, Howard. So we're gonna be talking AFC West. I know you picked this show. It's probably the most fun division to do, and I did not blame you at all when you picked it. But so we usually go position by position, hit up the ADP and the some positional questions by the team. But first, we start off with just a blanket NFL question here for this division. And look, there's been a lot of movement in this division. Denver's got reloaded. Oakland brought in some new toys here. Kansas City, they lost some toys, but I mean, it's still Kansas City. You feel like they're always going to be around. Who's taking this division this season and why, man?
Well, I mean, I think that I put a little the other day on the Chargers at they were like plus 240 to win the division. I think the Chiefs were the favorite, but still only at like plus 190. I mean, listen, I love this division. Like, first of all, I don't want to get you in trouble with any of your other guests, but the fact that like I got my pick of any division was super exciting. Like, I mean, this division is going to be phenomenal all year. We were just talking about it before the show, right? I mean, these teams with the way they just laid up, just beefed up their offenses and everything that they've got going on here. The games that they play, twice a year against each other. That the point spread is going to be at least 50. Not the spread. The total is going to be at least 50, right? So it's going to be a high flying, high scoring, heavy division here. And from a fantasy angle, I mean, why wouldn't you want to just kind of stack players in this division as much as you possibly can?
Yeah, it is gonna be a wild ride. I mean, we're seeing all the ADPs of all of these players go super early. At least the ones that we trust, right? Go very, very high, and for a good reason. It's going to be a very offensive heavy division. There's going to be a lot of shootouts. I agree. I don't know who I have winning this one. It's tough, man. I kind of think the Chargers. That's kind of my gut. AJ, any different?
I mean, it's hard to go against Kansas City because they've been there. They've been the most consistent. I'm very interested to see how Denver puts things together with Russ this year. I still think they're going to have some work to do, obviously. I just think all of these games against each other are going to be crazy, high scoring, like you said, Howard, and I think we're going to have it's almost going to be like the NFC East used to be, where they just beat the crap out of each other, and it didn't matter what happened in the other games. It was just whoever could not lose the most games in the division. I think that's going to settle it. But I'll put my money on KC.
Yeah, I mean, to make my case for the Chargers here, I'll say this. It's their second year now. The personnel hasn't changed, right? With the exception of you're swapping out a different tight end. You got a great pass catcher in Gerald Everett. This is the second year now that this core group is working in this, Joe Lombardi created offense, which he basically stole from the Saints, but nevertheless, he put him in there. So now this is year 2 for them. I love Mahomes. I've got him in a ton of best balls, stacking Chiefs also, but he does have new weapons, and he's going to have to, kind of get a feel for it here. JuJu Smith-Schuster, yeah, he's got Mecole Hardman and Travis Kelce from before, but he still needs that. He needs that go-to guy like he had in Tyreek Hill. And, I don't think anybody on that team's really going to replace him, but it's just going to be a matter of, comfort for Mahomes. I love what they're doing in Vegas, right? But, again, it's, integrating Davante Adams and then figuring out how everything's going to go with that. You're integrating Russell Wilson into an entirely new scheme in Denver.
Yep.
So that's why I'm just giving the edge to the Chargers. But I mean, yeah, I definitely think it's I think it's them and the Chiefs battling back and forth with Denver and with Vegas close third and Denver really close fourth.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun division to watch. So,
Yeah.
All right, well, let's jump into the QB position here first to start things off. Not surprisingly, all of these guys are pretty highly ranked. Patrick Mahomes is sitting at number 2 ADP. Justin Herbert is at 3. Russ Wilson is at 10, and Derek Carr coming in the 4th place at 14. So, take it away, Joe.
All right, so we're gonna start there with Denver, and you kind of alluded to the question that we had written down for this, and it's that he's on the new team, right? And so we see a lot of times when a quarterback changes team, it takes a little while for them to kind of mesh with that team, right? And I mean, look, we even saw it with Brady, like his first year, even though they won the Super Bowl eventually, but it took them over half the season to really get rolling. He wasn't super fantasy friendly that year until the last 6 weeks of the season. So what do you think Russell Wilson's going to be able to do with this new team surrounding him? Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton. Is there going to be enough chemistry up front to make an instant impact?
Going to be interesting to see, right? I think Wilson was brought in early enough, and during the entire, we knew he knew what he was coming into here, and I think that he got excited about it, and I definitely think that he, reached out and really wanted to make sure, because I agree with you. I think that it's definitely tough to do it. They're gonna Nathaniel Hackett and what did he bring in? Outen, the old tight ends coach from Green Bay that he used to work with over there. He brought him over there. A lot of people think that they're going to try and institute that exact offensive scheme that they were running there with Aaron Rodgers, but they can't do it. Russ Wilson, he's a different type of player. Russ Wilson, he doesn't throw over the middle because he's super short, and seeing over those offensive linemen, makes it tougher for him, and it puts him more at risk for turnovers. So. I think that Hackett and Outen are going to, really, they're going to let him pepper the sidelines with Jerry Jeudy a ton. They're going to let it open up with the long passes downfield. I think what I did read, though, is that I'm excited about this, is that they're looking to incorporate more wide zone formation and do a lot more outside zone runs. A lot of people, are down on Javonte Williams, right, because of the Melvin Gordon's presence there. But the outside zone runs are really going to do a lot of great things. It's going to allow Russell Wilson to dump off more to Javonte Williams. It's going to allow the team to really work those sidelines and make it a little easier for him. So I think when they're touching up this scheme, the predominant feeling about it is that we're going to cater to all of Russell Wilson's strengths. The rollouts, the RPO, and really make that happen. I don't think they're going to want him to do any, real running here, but, I think they're just going to kind of cater to those strengths for him for their offensive scheme just to keep him comfortable. So, I agree with you. It'll take a couple of games to kind of really work it and get it in. He's also going to have to be used to, playing in that altitude a lot more early on in the season, which is something that he hasn't had to do. So It should be really interesting to see. I'm still a big fan. I mean, God, him, Sutton and Jeudy.
Yeah. It feels like a slight downgrade. Only when you're talking like DK Metcalf, the dude's like just like a man child. The dude's a monster. But Sutton and Jeudy are very talented. I am slightly worried that Judy's already missing time, working with Wilson here this early with the injury. So that does concern me a little bit. And for a while there, I had Jeudy ranked over Sutton, but I flip flopped it because you're just going to get that early chemistry with Sutton way more than you are with Jeudy, I think, because of that. I mean, that's going to make a big difference early on between those two at least. But all right, let's move on, AJ.
Yeah. So going into KC here, I mean, how consistent are you thinking that Mahomes will be this year, week to week? I mean, he's got some new additions, and they've lost obviously Tyreek Hill, one of his favorite target monsters. Obviously, Kelce's still there, but there's a lot of new players there. He's gonna have to get some new chemistry of his own. What are your thoughts on consistency for Mahomes?
I mean, see, for me, Mahomes is just he's a talent. He's got great instincts. Likes to take some chances, likes to have a little fun while he's playing. I can't fault him for that. But one of the things that we saw was 2 years ago, he was so reliant on, Kelce and Hill. And then all of a sudden teams started realizing that, bracket coverage on Tyreek Hill takes him out of the play. And then all of a sudden, you put a safety on Kelce, and it changes the dynamic. And I think what we did see in a lot of games was all of a sudden, right? Like Byron Pringle was all of a sudden seeing all of these targets, right? Mecole Hardman was getting used a little bit more. You even saw more Demarcus Robinson, and everybody was like, well, damn, what the hell's going on here? He's spreading the ball out so much. I think it's just they were taking away his main options. And so I think that, what he's got now with Mecole Hardman and JuJu Smith-Schuster and Travis Kelce is I think he's got better quality receivers, like you had Hill, and then everybody else was down here. Now, you're giving me much more balanced wide receivers here, which I think kind of opens things up more for him.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, just what we've seen from him year to year, he's fantastic under pressure in general. He's just seemingly has an never-ending arsenal of how to throw a football to somebody that's in the field somewhere, whether it's sidearm, through the legs, whatever it might be. I think that it's going to be interesting without Hill there. I think he's going to be okay, but the first few games is really what I'm looking to focus on and see how he gets involved with these new players that he's got there now. And really what comes of that. Hopefully he can work out some of those kinks and build the chemistry in the OTAs and, preseason practices, I guess, because he's probably not going to play much in the preseason. So that's kind of where I'm looking at it. But I think he'll be okay. I would drop him slightly down in my rankings, but not far.
Yeah, I think you guys are kind of hitting it on the head here. Like, the worry is like, is he going to have those like monster like ceiling games that we're used to with him because he lost Hill, right? I think that's where the hit comes in his fantasy ranking. For me personally, I did drop him down to 4. I put him behind Herbert and Lamar. But I mean, he's so talented. Like, could he prove everybody wrong and be number 2 or even number 1 again? Sure, could be that talented. It's just when you lose a talent like a Tyreek Hill, somebody that he had such chemistry with, and until the second half of last year, basically 2 players, as you were saying, Howard, that's all he used, it felt like. Did he learn enough last season in those games to, be able to utilize be able to spread the ball around more to a JuJu, a Sky Moore, a Mecole Hardman, those types of guys? Or is he going to just kind of key in on 2 again and, maybe he'll get himself into trouble a little bit more because one of those 2 isn't Tyreek? So that's where the doubt sort of creeps in the back of my mind for me, just enough to drop him to number 4 in my rankings. But I mean, you're still talking an elite quarterback. So I think we're all okay with him overall, when it's all said and done. But let's move over to the guy who I have ranked just ahead of him, and that's Justin Herbert. Could he actually take the leap to be, can he legit be the best quarterback? Maybe not just best not fantasy quarterback, but best quarterback in this division over Mahomes this year.
100%. 100%. I mean, he's got all the tools working for him. He's got a great pass catching running back in Austin Ekeler. He's got fantastic, reliable hands in Keenan Allen. Mike Williams took that step last year. I said everybody, I was like, you got to get him. This offensive scheme force feeds targets to the X receiver, and Mike Williams just gobbled them up last year. So it was great to see. So now it's those guys working together in another year in that Joe Lombardi offense with Gerald Everett, another good quality pass catcher there. Herbert's got all the weapons here to succeed, all the weapons to succeed. And I think that this is a team that is going to, I picked them to actually go to the Super Bowl last year. I like Joe Lombardi's offense so much. I'll probably have a couple of bets down on them for winning it all this year.
Yeah, defense has got to step up a little more this year, but
well, that's the thing. I mean, and everybody did that too in the AFC West, right? All of a sudden, you're like, oh wait, did they just add that dude to their secondary? Like, I think they're all kind of preparing for like Armageddon in the AFC West.
This will be war.
This should be great. Like, I would be very surprised. I'd be very, very surprised if the impending Super Bowl champions did not come out of this division.
Either that or they're all going to beat each other up, but
I think that would be an interesting bet, the AFC West versus the field. So just to see, the rest of the division, it's, not bad. I would probably definitely put money on that. So last team we got here, definitely. Yeah. Definitely, probably. Whichever
Maybe,
works.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. Thinking about it, but
100%.
60% of the time it works every time, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm the Sex Panther of betting. All right, so we've got a derailment already.
Good work on the IPAs, guys.
Yes, exactly.
I'm only a quarter of the way through.
I told you I was trying to go to light beers, and Joe twisted my arm.
Do not blame anything on me, Jay.
Las Vegas, Sin City. Will Derek Carr finally finish as a QB1 with the new addition of Mr. Davante Adams and some other weapons that they got there? Obviously the Jacobs, the Renfrow, Waller, if he can stay on the field this year. What do you think about Carr?
The McDaniels. You forgot about the McDaniels,
true.
Right? That's a huge.
I was like,
bump.
There's a name. What is the damn name?
This, I mean, listen, I love the offensive scheme he's bringing over there. He knows how to utilize a tight end. Waller, if he's at full health, he's going to get heavily used. I love you got to love the intangibles of the fact that Carr and Adams are already familiar with each other, right? They've played together in the past. They know, listen, a couple of conversations and 2 practices, and they're like right back in the swing of things here. So yeah, I do like it. I feel like this offense, the main linchpin to see whether or not they go or not actually falls on Josh Jacobs' season. I'm sure we'll be talking running backs, but I'll stay with Carr and say that, with a solid ground game supporting him, right, that the pressure is not all on him. He's got amazing weapons and an amazing system to succeed. So as long as he keeps that, that efficiency that we saw and the completion percentage stays up, I think this is definitely an offense to be reckoned with.
Yeah, I'm excited for this offense. I've always liked Jacobs. He's always been kind of disappointing, but he finally seems to be putting things together. He had a nice year last year. Waller, I was all in on Waller last year, and Joe, so were you, I think. And
a lot of us
we
were.
both,
got fish first round.
Ate the humble pie on that one.
It was okay. When he was
That
out
that
there.
would have been a pie bet that would have backfired on me every week. So
We're bringing
yeah.
it back this
I
year.
heard. I
am.
know. I was
Are
just
you?
gonna say that.
I
I
know,
heard
I
you on
was-
the way home from
I'm-
dinner tonight, man. We're bringing it back, baby.
Yes.
Tweeted that sucker out. I tweeted out an old video of ours. Yeah, we're
That'd be fun.
doing it.
We'll have to do a few of those on air, AJ. I'll have
Yes.
to get the
Absolutely.
wife down here and pious. They'll enjoy it.
That's always,
Yeah.
that was always the best part of those videos was listening to the wives
Yes.
and the kids laugh
Absolutely.
after doing it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna break my
100%.
husband's nose, but I'm gonna giggle his all out.
Yeah. It's like, this is going to be great. Don't want the insurance and ambulance bills, but for now, awesome.
Don't break my no.
Yeah, exactly. My nose is already pretty large and obtrusive, so I don't know if a break would help or hurt more. So, all right, let's move into the running backs here, Joe. What you got?
All right, so running back ADP. We're starting off here with Austin Ekeler at number 4. By the way, we're using half point PPR ADP
Half
rankings
PPR.
here. So Ekeler 4, Javonte Williams at 12, Josh Jacobs at 22, Clyde Edwards-Helaire at 25, Melvin Gordon at 37, Isaiah Spiller at 40, Ronald Jones at 42, Zamir White at 59, Kenny Drake 70, Jerick McKinnon 96, and bringing up the rear is Brandon Bolden at 130. So have at it, AJ.
Good old Brandon. I love Brandon Bolden. So again, let's stick with Vegas here. So with the news of the Raiders not picking up Jacobs' 5th-year option, what do you think this is going to do for his future and the future of this backfield?
Well, the future of the backfield is going to probably hinge on, what the Raiders really want to do, what they believe in, what they've got with Zamir White. I love Jacobs this season. I mean, right? You didn't pick up my 5th-year option. I'm going to be a free agent at the end of this year.
Yep.
I'll play for a contract. I'll definitely.
Right.
Josh McDaniels loves to bring in the power run. So my feeling about that is, if they're going to use some power run there and they're going to, utilize Jacobs, he's playing with that incentive. And, if he does a fantastic job and the Raiders are like, damn, we got to keep this fool, well, then they'll pay him. If not, somebody's going to pay him. He'll be fine. I think he'll be fine.
Yep.
We'll see where he lands. I'm definitely higher on Jacobs than a lot of people this year, but I like to throw away some of the stuff in the past. I like to look at the scheme that he's playing in now, right? You take him away from all the Gruden nonsense and all the crap that we had to deal with before. You put him in a system that kind of works for him, and I think we're in a good spot with Jacobs. I like him. I'll take him. I'll take him at his ADP. I'll take him maybe a pick or two earlier.
Yeah,
I'm not against it.
I like him a lot this year. I do have him a couple spots higher than his ADP currently. I mean, the thing that always with him, right, is he just feels like he's always banged up. He's missing time. And yeah, if you look at like the stat, his stats, he's missed, he's played 15 games, but like there's always those games where he comes out a little early or he's not playing the full game because he's just banged up or whatever. And like his efficiency has been really bad too. So like that's 4 yards per carry last year was decent, I guess, but 872 yards rushing, not fantastic. But yeah, I mean, I think all in all, this offense is going to be better, as we've all kind of already said, because they brought in Adams, and the offense is just going to be better in general. And so that's going to lead to more short yardage touchdowns for him, which, look, I mean, could he get double-digit touchdowns? I think fairly easily if he stays on the field.
I think that's a fabulous point. I don't mean to like jump on top here, but that right there, like Adams pass interference in the end zone, 1 yard touchdown run, that's going to be like butter your bread with it.
Right?
All season.
I'm all for it. So, I mean, where he's going in drafts, like I'm probably going to have a lot of him. I feel like he's if I can't load up with one of the top 2 running backs, the guys really early that I like, and I had to wait another round.
Yeah.
He's one of the guys in that range where I'm like, okay, like I'll take the Jacobs. There's a couple others in the range of him in ADP that I'm like, I'm okay if I have to go, if I got to go receiver earlier, and wait for the other guy to come back. But like, Jacobs is definitely one of those guys. So,
Yeah.
let's move over here to Denver, and of course, we were all super excited, man. It was Javonte Williams season, and then Melvin Gordon you just had to ruin it, man. You just had to ruin it again.
Yeah, he's like, hi, still here.
Yeah. I mean, so what's the realistic expectations for this backfield this season? Are we going to see more of the 50-50 split like we saw last year, like exactly 50-50 split? Or is Williams going to kind of take a little hold of this, maybe see like at least like a 60-40?
Javonte Williams is I'd see it, he could even go to a 70-30. Like I said, like what they want to do, and they kind of rebuilt the offensive line to make this happen, was to use more of the wide zone. And they want to do more outside zone running. Melvin Gordon can't turn that corner anymore. That's bottom line, right? I mean, I love Melvin Gordon, right? I don't want to hate on the dude here, but between the tackles, if they continue to take away the outside zone, right? Well, then maybe Gordon gets, some extra work there, but and then it becomes, closer to a 50-50 split. But I just think that with a lot of the outside work that they're going to do, it's definitely going to favor Javonte Williams. We're going to see a lot of dump offs from Russell Wilson. We're going to see those design screens to him as well. So I'm very much in on Javonte Williams. I've been taking him. I'll happily take him in the back end of that first round. Early second, like right, in that turn. I love it right over there. I'm more than happy to do it. Again, I think that this is the phase out of Melvin Gordon. You bring him in as insurance. He knows, he's familiar with the team. It's not costing them an arm and a leg to do it, and it gives them some security. Gordon can still catch passes. Is just turn to the outside, and turning the corner is a little bit more sluggish. So I think they phased it out. I'll say 70-30 is like probably where we average out as far as touches for each guy.
Man, if we can get a 70-30, his ADP is probably low for Williams. That is,
yeah. I think it is, and I'm not giving up too much on Melgo yet. I mean, he hasn't hit 30. This is his 29-year season, so
he's got a lot
after
of work.
this season, he's done, obviously, but. No, he's obviously slowed down. He's had a lot of work. I think the best thing for him is in the passing game and being able to get out in that flat, finally, get the sluggishness, make the turn, and then try to be a nice little safety gap for Wilson. But Javonte's got to be the power back guy. I mean, Melvin's just not. He's not going to cut it. I could see at a minimum a 60-40 split in favor of Williams. Rushing wise, I think I'd be closer to getting on board with that 70-30, but overall touches, I'm still hovering around the 60-40.
I'll tell you, I'm on the fence with this one. I'm not totally confident with it. I really liked Javonte, obviously, a month ago.
Come on!
But I think I can buy into like a 60-40 split, but that's where I'm like, is it worth the 12 overall ADP for running backs? And, given you bring in a Wilson, right? I mean, they're going to want to pass more, I feel like, with Wilson being there too. So like that's something else to consider is, before they didn't have the ability to pass because they were dealing with just crummy quarterbacks
Yeah.
to be as nice as possible with it.
Drew Lock? What?
I mean,
Pop
yeah.
Warner All-Star? Drew Lock? Are you kidding me?
What if we agreed on 65-35 for the split?
Done.
We can go in the middle.
Right?
Fine, I'll
Just
meet you
in the middle
halfway.
there. Does that help? you a little?
Handshake deal.
Yes. Into it.
All right. Let's move to the next team.
All right. So Mr. Austin Ekeler finished as RB2 last season. And it was a year where running backs were really just dropping like flies. With a lot of these running backs coming back this year and hopefully staying healthy, do you think that Ekeler is going to repeat that performance?
I do. I'm very into Austin Ekeler here. I like the fact that Isaiah Spiller is around, and that does kind of keep people on their toes a little bit about him. But I believe in the system, and again, this was a system that ran for years and years and years in New Orleans, and look what it did for Alvin Kamara. So, well, it got him and his friends beating up a dude in a hotel elevator, but that's a different story.
Yikes.
Right? We're not at that point yet with Ekeler. He's not beating up, poor helpless guys. But I just, targets, touches, everything. It's going to move a lot through Ekeler. I'm very, very happy with him. I have him right there as the number 2 guy on my board for half point and PP and full point PPR. Standard, you have to kind of make that adjustment because he's not, because he's going to do more pass catching than anything else. But, oof, I love him.
Yeah, it's hard not to want to jump on board with Ekeler. He's just been a powerhouse for years, and he was in the shadow of Melvin Gordon for so long, but then he shined every time Gordon went down. So, now that he's the lead guy and has the trust of Herbert and in that offensive scheme, it's just hard to go against him in my mind.
I'll
Very
preface
wise.
this by saying he's super safe up top. I feel like he's going to be a top 5-6 back when all is said and done. So if you take him number 2, fine. I'm not doing it personally. He's not scoring 20 touchdowns again. I'm sorry. I know we said that about Aaron Jones 2 years ago, and what he did, he made us all look stupid. He did it again. But it's just
And yet you defy it.
It's
Yeah.
super
Defy that.
unlikely to happen. Like, what's the chances that a guy repeats the touchdowns like that? It just doesn't happen, in my opinion. So I think he doesn't get the rushing workload up top like some of the stud running backs that you like. Look, the receiving is phenomenal, but I just 8 receiving touchdown nonetheless too, right? Like that's almost unheard of from a running back.
It's the scheme. That's the scheme. Did anybody question it when Alvin Kamara was doing that? Wasn't he
Nope.
good for 9 receiving touchdowns a year?
I'd have to go back.
I'm going to Kamara's numbers right now.
5, 4, 1, 5, and 5.
5 mixed in with a 14 and a 16 on the rushing touchdown.
Yeah. So I mean, but he didn't repeat. He never repeated back-to-back years of those stud touchdown numbers. He did it twice, but he never did it 2 in a row.
He did it twice, but he didn't do it 2 in a row. He got hurt in that middle year, right? He only played 14 games in 2019.
He only played in 15 games the 2 years he did it. So you tell me one more games and extra 6 touchdowns? That's a hell of a
Yep.
season.
Did Alvin
Definitely.
Kamara not score 6 touchdowns in a game at one point?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does that, on a
Again,
regular.
I mean,
Joe, facts just sitting right in front of you, and you're like,
Come on.
no. What's over here?
Are you going to argue
Facts.
with analytics and stats? Because that's just a game you don't want to go into playing
oh, man.
alone. Okay,
Outside of the 2020 game in Week 16 where he won everybody.
that's an
a lot
ugly
of
game
money.
of solitaire right there.
Anyway, I don't know. Look, I like him. I'm going to draft him up top.
Doesn't sound like it.
I'm just not going to.
You're not allowed to now. Now you don't
Yeah, no,
deserve
no.
Austin Ekeler now.
You have just earned 0 shares of Austin Ekeler in every draft you do this year.
fine. I kind of want a back end of the first round pick in every draft anyway this season.
Whatever.
So it's fine with me.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're in a league with Joe Bond and you see him take Austin Ekeler, you hit me up on Twitter at RotoBuzzGuy.
Yes.
I'll deal with it. I'll reward you for ratting out Joe to me. I
will throw a pie in his face for it because that's how it's going to happen.
Right.
If you drive the hour and a half down to me, AJ, I will gladly let you do that.
Done and done.
All right. Let's finish off here with the running backs and
make this happen.
Hit up Kansas City. Look, Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been sort of underwhelming, to say the least.
I mean, that's kind of saying the most. You can just take the sort of out and just leave it at underwhelming.
I'm trying to be nice. Jeez, I don't know, man.
Pretty much the tone says it all, doesn't it? Right?
Yeah. But
my wife yells at me all the time. It's not what you're saying; it's how you're saying it.
Helaire.
Fine, he sucks.
So
now Ronald Jones is there. What
Helaire. It's like freaking Ben Stein and Ferris Bueller.
It's Ronald Jones season.
Ronald Jones season. Oh no.
Season or SZN? Because I need to know which one we're working with here. Because that's gonna define whether or not I actually draft this guy.
It's SZN in all caps.
Yes. Okay.
And that's no cap right there.
I am getting on board with the Zen thing. Trying to see the Zen with Ronald Jones. Go ahead, Joe. You got something else to ask?
I think I asked the question. I don't know if anybody actually heard me, but I did ask it. Yeah. What do you think of Kansas City's backfield? What do we got?
Oh, I hate it. I mean,
who doesn't?
I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire pretty much showed that he's a decent runner. He can pick up yards after contact. He can bounce around a little bit between the tackles like a pinball because he's so small. He's just not a good pass blocker. He's a mediocre pass catcher. They don't utilize him in that sense. So, they re-up with Jerick McKinnon. They bring in Ronald Jones. I genuinely would love to see Ronald Jones with a fresh start and actually utilize it, not be deathly afraid. Oh my God, Tom Brady's going to be mad at me and I'm never going to see a snap for the rest of the day. I don't think it works like that in Kansas City. Now, Andy Reid won't tolerate fumbles and drop passes.
Right.
That's true.
But I do think that, I think Ronald Jones can, collect himself a little bit and just kind of start fresh. And I feel like Mahomes will, help keep him loose out there as well. I think it's just a different mentality than sitting there on the field playing with Brady.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see Brady picking up the phone and calling Andy Reid unless he's just trying to prank him about cheesesteaks or something. But yeah, no, I'm like, now I'm hungry. I think I like Rojo.
When you drive that hour and a half down here, we got a good cheesesteak down the road from me, so you can finally hit it up.
Yeah,
I've been talking about it for a while.
Brew Belly.
Yep.
Shout out. All right.
Hell yeah, man.
I'm into it.
Food out here in San Francisco sucks. I can't get a good cheesesteak.
Well, yeah. You
Or
can't get a good
bagel.
cheesesteak
Or pizza.
outside of the Mid-Atlantic. I feel
Chinese
like
food sucks out here.
That seems impossible. What?
I'm telling you. Well, because it's more authentic. I like my New York Americanized Chinese food. Sorry, that's just
exactly. No, that's correct. Is there pizza that's edible?
I mean, any pizza's edible. Come on, I'll do round table stuffed crust. I'm just not picky. But if I have my preference,
yeah,
not here.
No.
Does anybody know what you're talking about?
Yeah,
right?
Food.
We'd rather talk about food than hope and promise in the Kansas City backfield.
Which holds more weight in the rest of my life, eating or Rojo? I think I'm gonna have to eat to survive.
Careful, John LaPresta will be very mad at you for dogging some Rojo, man. That's his boy. I don't know.
Well,
every year we talk about Rojo, I got to mention John because he's like the biggest truther of his. It's just hilarious. And of course, like 2 years ago, it was like actually halfway decent, and I was like, "Oh, damn it!" And it was like, "Oh no, wait, he sucks again." Yes,
Yay, we suck again.
yeah. Insert meme here. Yes,
Exactly.
All right, let's move on to receivers.
All right, receivers of the wides. We got Mr. Davante Adams at number 4. We've got Keenan Allen at 11. We've got Judge Jerry Jeudy here at 20. The court is in session with Land Sutton at 22. Mike Williams, Mr. Boomer Bust, 26. JuJu at 34 in his new home. Hunter Renfrow's at 40. We've got the sky's the limit Moore at 48. MVS at 55. Not even going to try that one. Tim Patrick, 62. Mecole Hardman, 65. We got Josh Palmer at 80. We've got KJ Hamler at 88 and Jalen Guyton at 97. That's a lot. Joe?
Yeah. So let's start off with Kansas City. We finished with them last time. So JuJu, right? I mean, we talked about how Kansas City and Mahomes, they like to target kind of one receiver and then, of course, Kelce. So is JuJu, can he be that locked in number one receiver for them? And if he is, like, I feel like his ADP is super low.
I think he's got the capability. See, here's my issue, I guess, right now. JuJu works best when he's working out of the slot, right? We've seen it in Pittsburgh. You know, Antonio Brown was on the outside. He was drawing the primary coverage. Moving the chains. You were just relying on JuJu coming out of the slot. It was a nice matchup for him against some of these slot corners. You know, I feel like if you put JuJu in the slot in Kansas City, it's definitely I think he plays better over there. You know, now obviously they draft Sky Moore, so you don't know, I mean, he's definitely, that's like prototypical slot receiver. So, the question is where's everybody going to line up? I think if JuJu lines up in the slot, we're good. I think that Mecole Hardman, I think that's the kind of thing also is that they're looking at here is between Hardman, JuJu, and, take your pick, whether it's, MVS or Sky Moore, whoever's going to be that, that third guy who's going to be on the field the most of the, for the majority of the time. They all do seem to be relatively interchangeable, right? And so you can line them up at different spots around the field, and maybe that confuses the defenses a little bit more. I like the receiving core. I don't love the receiving core for Kansas City. I wouldn't mind, and it's easy to do. I mean, you just look at the ADP, Mahomes, JuJu, and like a Mecole Hardman stack. Like, I wouldn't mind that in best ball at all. So yeah, I like it. I just don't love it.
It's so tough with me with this receiving core too. Like, I think the only guy I feel like we can even remotely trust is JuJu, just because he's done it before. I guess Hardman's always has been a guy. MVS has got stone hands sometimes. Sky Moore's a rookie, although he's got the next best ADP after JuJu. It's like I don't know what to think about this with this receiving core. I really don't. And it in the past it has really been a receiving core that has only been able to sustain one consistent guy, and then the rest is like they're all DFS plays, and that's it. You really can't have them in redraft leagues, or maybe best ball, fine, but in like your standard redraft leagues, like you can't figure out when to start MVS over Sky Moore and then Hardman over MVS. Like, it's impossible to figure out that week in and week out. It was always like Hill, and then everybody else was like over here. Like, everybody drafted him because like, oh, he's gonna be the next guy. Good luck. I never cared. I never went after it. I'll probably have some JuJu just because his ADP is pretty nice at this point. I mean, you're talking his wide receiver ADP is 34. We're talking his overall, by the way, is if I look at it real quick, 82. I mean, I'll take that. I'll take a chance at the possible number one receiver, the probable number one receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs at pick number 82 overall. So I feel like I'm going to have a lot of him.
Yeah. And no Ekeler. We've already discussed that.
No, apparently not. No Ekeler. No Ekeler.
Lots of
There's a
JuJu,
bounty on her
no
check.
Ekeler.
All
So
about the
I'm going to
value
go
angle.
ahead and play devil's advocate here. Because this rushing attack is subpar at best. That's probably being nice. That's how you be nice, Joe. Do we see more 4 receiver sets in Kansas City?
I don't necessarily think that you have to. I think Andy Reid, likes to incorporate the running backs a lot. You've got the pass catching tight end. So, between the tight end and the pass catching back, I think 3 receiver sets are enough. I mean, will you see some 4 receiver sets? Yeah, probably.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, I think the base is relying more on a pass catching back than I do think it is a 4th receiver on the field.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Back to Vegas here. Obviously, the biggest addition that they've made, aside from McDaniels, Davante Adams. I mean, how much does this addition really affect the floor of, say, a Hunter Renfrow, who was one of the safest guys in fantasy last year?
Listen, I think that this, it'll obviously take some targets away from Hunter Renfrow. We know that. I still think that he is a legitimate red zone threat to be mixed in, right? We saw that a bunch. Just because Davante Adams is here and they're comfortable, I mean, again, you'll see a lot of deeper plays for Davante Adams. You're not going to see Derek Carr force feeding targets to Davante Adams the way Aaron Rodgers force fed targets to Davante Adams. So while I think that Renfrow obviously takes a hit in targets, as does Darren Waller, I still think that you can balance this out enough to make, Renfrow a legitimate wide receiver too, especially in PPR leagues. So I'm fine with Renfrow. I love Davante Adams. The thing is that there's really no concern for whoever the 3rd receiver is going to be in this, in this scheme. It's like it's Adams, it's Renfrow, and it's Waller, and that's like where the targets are going. That's your safety aspect, drafting Raiders.
Yeah, I mean you're right on. We're gonna see the target share, drop for Renfrow. It was at 21% last year. But we're also going to see target share drop probably for Davante Adams. I mean, it was at almost 30% last year. Like, you're not going to have 2 guys that high up along with a Darren Waller at the same time. So that'll be tough. So yeah, he'll take a little bit of a hit, but it's built into the draft price. I mean, he was amazing last year. So I think he can easily be a back end wide receiver 2, if not slightly better. I like it. So. Moving on to Denver. So, now that Wilson's there, we have a competent quarterback. We've already talked about this a little bit. Let's just focus on Sutton and Jeudy here, because those are the 2 that most people are really drafting to be the guy, right? How do you see those 2 playing out this season as far as, the workload and the production and things like that? So.
Overall, I think Cortland Sutton is the receiver that you want in fantasy. He'll see the more of the deeper plays. He'll see a lot of red zone looks. Jerry Jeudy is the guy who I'm definitely grabbing in PPR formats. Now, obviously, him being banged up here in the offseason kind of takes a little of the luster off. But again, when you look at Russell Wilson and what he does, he loves to pepper the sidelines. Just move the chains that way. Short, quick timing routes to the outside. Can kill the clock, or you can just move into a very easy hurry up offense when you're throwing, at 6 yards, 7 yards a clip and moving the chains that way. So I think that's where you're going to see the value for Jerry Jeudy. And then, Sutton on the other side of that. I think, Albert Aquabenum will end up being a decent red zone target. I don't want to jump to the tight ends, but I think he'll be a decent red zone target. But, I'm okay with KJ Hamler as a slot receiver. I don't love him that much. I think the occasional deep play might be fine with Hamler, but I see Jeudy handling all the short to mid-size routes, and the mid to longer routes go to Sutton.
Yeah. I like that. I think the guy who kind of gets forgotten slightly is Tim Patrick slightly.
Yes.
I do like him a lot. I know Hamler's got kind of more of feels like he's got more like the name power behind it, but Tim Patrick, like every time he gets a chance, he produces. It's like he scores a touchdown every single week. One of the top two guys miss, and I'm just kind of like, I don't know why they don't get this guy more of a chance, but maybe with Wilson there, maybe they'll run, a little bit more of a pass heavy offense, but they've got such good running backs. It's hard to really, see that happening. So but I agree. I as I said earlier, I did flip flop Sutton and Jeudy in my rankings once Jeudy did get injured, because I do think it's going to take him just that much longer to catch up, and it will put him behind in the overall points. So
yeah.
All right, finish up receivers.
All right,
AJ.
moving into the Chargers here. So basically, with everyone hoping that Herbert's going to take another step farther in his development this year, can we expect him to produce 2 wide receiver ones in Allen and Williams for a second straight year?
Yes, he can.
Okay, and on to tight ends. No.
I mean, listen, I could sit here and gush over and over again about the Chargers offense. I love it, man. The increase in targets to the X receiver, Keenan Allen not losing much because he's the guy who's moving the chains. I love it. I absolutely love it. I think that, I like Josh Palmer as a late round draft pick because Palmer can line up both on the inside and the outside. And yeah, I would take that would be the to me, I would say that would be the pecking order for receiver targets would be Allen, Williams, Palmer, and then Jalen Guyton would follow up. But before we got to Guyton, I think Everett kind of sneaks in as getting the target share there. So that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, I love this scheme. I'm a huge fan of Justin Herbert, right?
Yeah.
I love this kid. I think this kid's he's got what it takes to just build a long-standing, strong career in the NFL.
Yeah, I think it's, and looking at drafts too, I feel like you have a better chance of stacking with Herbert, and multiple guys, as opposed to a Josh Allen or even maybe a Mahomes. But these are the guys where they're falling. If you're early in your draft, I think you can get these guys, at great values and keep moving with them. So
let me ask you this, Howard. Keenan Allen, right? He's very safe floor. We all know the touchdowns just don't seem to come with him for whatever reason. So, he's a very safe floor player. Are you comfortable taking him at 11, knowing that he's really just not gonna lack those big weeks?
I mean, am I comfortable taking? I mean, I will take him. It depends on who's on the board. I was actually just in a draft earlier, and I, was sitting there between, knowing, talking about wanting to stack Chargers, and there I was between Mike Evans and Keenan Allen, right? Because their ADP is right next to each other, and I went with Mike Evans over Keenan Allen because, the touchdowns that Mike Evans is going to see, the go-to receiver for Tom Brady. And while, I mean, I think that Allen is a guy who in a PPR format, I kind of feel like his ADP is a little on the high side, right? I'd probably look at, if I'm stacking Chargers, I mean, I'm going to try to do it with an Austin Ekeler pick in the first round and then do Herbert, Ekeler, and Mike Williams is really kind of what the ideal stack for me. Because I think it's definitely harder to try and get Keenan Allen in there because I do feel like I'm not going to say that people are overrating him. He's just, like you said, he doesn't really see a lot of the red zone work in there. Herbert much prefers to play a much more of a vertical passing game in, near that red zone and inside the end zone. So, yeah, I can get down with the fact of saying that I don't like taking Keenan Allen where he is. So I probably won't have a lot of him.
So you mentioned Mike Williams, and just because I've had so many discussions, so many arguments over these two receivers, I just want to get your thoughts on them. So Mike Williams too, right? So he came out like gangbusters. He was like wide receiver 2 through week 6 last year.
Mhm.
And then the last part, especially that middle part of the season, he kind of disappeared, man. Like it was just like, what in the hell happened? I want to say he finished the year as wide receiver 29 if out like from week 6 on. And yeah, he's being drafted as wide receiver 26, so fine, but like I don't know, part of me just feels like those first, for the first 5 weeks might have just been sort of fluky. Like I feel like he's always had that potential, but like he just kind of piled them all together. I don't know, like he just feels like super inconsistent to me to want to rely on him in redraft. He's so hard to figure out when he's gonna go off.
I get what you're saying here. I think we will see a little bit more consistency from him this year now that they've kind of secured everything. He came out like gangbusters early on, the first 5 games, and then he struggled, right? I mean, if I'm looking at the game log right now, right, in Baltimore, and he had Marlon Humphrey up his ass the entire time, and
Yeah.
And it was a tough game. Then he goes, off the bye week. Then he comes back and he faces New England, and we all know that Belichick just, he's just great at taking away your weapons. So a couple of games, some struggles there, right? Then the Eagles, then the Vikings. And just not great numbers. And then all of a sudden it picked back up. Great game against Pittsburgh, 100 yards against the Bengals. Last 2 games of the season, Denver and Vegas, good, strong finish. I do think that we see a little bit more consistency from him overall. I think every receiver is going to have his down games that are going to bum you out, right? Jefferson will. Chase will.
Of course, yeah.
Right? So you're going to see that. The question is if you take maybe 2 of these games or 3 of these games and you turn around and whether maybe either give them another touchdown or give them an extra 30 yards or something like that, does that make you feel a little bit better about them? Because that's, to me, is really what it looks like, is that we're worried about what happened in the middle of the season. So if you take during that 5-6 game stretch, if you just turn around the production for 2 of those, I think you're in a great spot.
I think the biggest knock on Williams too is the injury history, and obviously it's something to take into account, but it's like a recency bias thing for me, and well, he hasn't really been injured, recently, and he's shown more consistency. Yeah, he fell off a little bit versus tough competition. Who's not? How many times have you had your RB1 or your top receiver just throw up a dud? I'm looking at you, Amari Cooper. Thank you for never being on any of my teams ever again.
I haven't ever
now.
had him, and there's no reason for that.
As
we all know,
I think this is going to be a really good year for Williams. Actually, I think he's going to put it together. Again, assuming he stays healthy and on the field, I think he could be a really big breakout candidate for this offense.
I mean, he's played in at least 15 games each of the last 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Again, I've always been a guy who really, I focus on offensive schemes. And so in looking at what the Chargers were doing before that with like Anthony Lynn running the team, you're like, what the hell's happening here? This is not, Anthony Lynn trying to put his trust into, into somebody else creating an offensive scheme. And now all of a sudden you see what happens. I mean, he went from 85 targets to 130 targets.
Yeah.
Right. With Joe Lombardi's offense. So I think that's kind of where the focus should be, is what is he doing in this scheme a second year in a row, as opposed to, I mean, the years before that, it wasn't so great. Beep, 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 beep. I mean, I'm sure we're going to say that about like some Miami running backs or something like that now that the system is, changed over there. So I think Mike Williams gets that benefit of the doubt here from me.
Yeah.
All right. I just had to play devil's advocate there and ask.
You can fight me on it if you want. If you want,
I'm good. I apparently already lost with Ekeler, so we're just gonna move on to tight ends here.
Well, do we say 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns, and you take a pie?
Yes. Answer for you. Yes. That's another hour and a half I will drive for the sheer fact of being able to pie you.
We got AJ in the car.
I mean, 1,208 would put him in wide receiver 1 territory, so fine. I'll take that.
I'm already driving.
All right, let's close off here with the tight ends, and we got Travis Kelce at number 1, Darren Waller at 5, Albert O at 16, Gerald Everett at 23, and rookie in Denver, Greg Dulcich at 37. So, AJ.
All right, kicking it back to KC and Mr. Kelce. 5 straight seasons that this guy's been tight end number 1. Mark Andrews overtook him last year, though, and that finally broke the streak. But do you think Kelce can get back to that status, or is this the beginning of the downslope?
I think we could be looking at the beginning of the downslope, but even the downslope here for Kelce, like I think it's more of like a slight dip down. It's not going to be like, like all of a sudden he's not going to show up and do anything. Health. He's got a lot of wear and tear on him. He's got a lot of mileage on him. So I do think there comes a little bit of risk, but I look at it and I say, here's a guy who's got Mahomes' attention nonstop. We've seen what he can do, and I can't take him out of my number 1 spot yet. Maybe that happens in a year or two. I don't know, but I can't take him out of my number 1.
Yeah, me either.
I'm not dropping him yet. He's just too good. I mean, even if he's plateaued, we'll call it, come up and then he's still going to stay on that level for a little bit before he completely falls off. And I think it's going to take some kind of major change in that offense and in the scheme for that to happen. And I don't see that happening right now because I know Andy Reid and he doesn't really change that much.
He is not a flexible guy.
Well, Andy doesn't, but
especially if it's a 2-minute drill.
The other thing we got to realize, remember here is they had no Tyreek Hill. So like, come on, we're talking all the receivers. Who's going to get targets here? Well, Kelce's going to be the number 1 target in this offense. I just don't have any doubt in my mind that that's what's going to happen. So
CH, he's really going to pick it up this year. Huge target share. He's going to pick up at least 5% of Tyreek's targets, maybe 7 if I'm being generous.
Oh my gosh!
Rojo seizes as N.
Rojo season.
That's like another 6% there. So
yeah. I just got some stats from our producer here. Travis Kelce has 25 catches for 351 yards and has scored 1 touchdown in 4 games without Tyreek Hill in his career. So, yeah, I think we're good. This offense is going to be cooking.
I mean, I guess that's okay.
Yeah, that's all right. So let's go jump over here.
What did he do with Tyreek?
Also good things. The Las Vegas Raiders and, like Waller, as we said earlier, just kind of, he disappointed last year mostly because he got banged up. But even when he was on the field, it didn't quite live up to the 2020 season that he had. And he was still second on the team in target percentage. But, now that Adams is there and, Renfrow really took a step forward, what's realistic for Waller this season as far as, tight end production here for us?
Listen, is he ever going to recapture the magic from 2 years ago? I don't know. I think, I think when it comes to the whole thing, when you're looking at the top tier of tight ends, I think you have to really kind of just look at the sheer volume that they get and the opportunities that they get.
Mm-hmm.
And Waller sees a great target share in this offense, and he will continue to, because I think it's going to go Adams and then Renfrow, and then Waller is going to see, we could see something comparable to that of Hunter Renfrow as far as target share goes. I believe in him. I think that he's a great player. I think if he stays healthy, he definitely could have challenged. If he stayed healthy last year, could he have challenged, Kelce for that number one spot? It's possible. We don't know because of the injury. But I'm willing to take a gamble on it this year, and I'm still willing to, to take him as, the number 3 tight end, in the league. I can still give him an edge over Kyle Pitts in that aspect, because I think that Waller is going to be a big part of it. Josh McDaniels loves utilizing the tight end. We saw him, we've seen it in New England, right?
Yeah, just a few times.
Once or twice.
Yeah. One guy was really good. The other guy maybe killed some people. I don't know.
Jeez.
Controversy. Yeah. So I think Waller is. I think he'll be better than what we saw last year when he was on the field. But I don't know if he'll necessarily get to that peak we saw a couple of years ago. I just think this offense as a whole is going to be better all around. And it's not going to be a, today's your day sort of thing. I just think McDaniels offers so much for that scheme that it's going to be interesting to see how everything comes together here. So I do like Waller this year, even though he burned me pretty bad last year. Thanks, Joe. But
it's always your fault, Joe.
It is always my fault.
Yeah. If I had a pie right now, I would just throw it in my own face and pretend it was you. So that's what I think. Any last words on Waller before we move on, Joe?
I think we're good.
No, because you still have pie in your face. All right. Noah Fant.
No idea what's happening anymore.
Noah Fant, no longer in this division. And
great way to start the question off, right?
90 targets. I'm just stating the obvious. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Received 90 targets last year in Denver's offense here. But do we think that I'm going to ruin his name because I want to say it.
Just say Alberto.
Oh, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to challenge myself, unlike you.
Did I show you up by actually pronouncing it in front of you?
You just did, and I was like sitting there, like running it through my head as you did. Okwebunum. That's what I said. Totally. Do we think that Okwebunum is going to get that many targets? Obviously, I don't see him getting 90. So the answer is no. But do we see him getting a much larger share in targets with this offense? Or is he going to still kind of be more of a blocking back?
I think he'll be a red zone threat. right? I kind of feel like Russell used him similar to what we saw in Seattle, right? Will Dissly was getting those red zone targets, and they were kind of doing it that way. I think he'll just he'll probably block more or less for the majority of the time, but once you get inside the 20, I think that he's going to be just a good target. Again, once you shorten the field like that on Russ, he needs to see the big guys with the big hands up in the air, and that's going to end up being Albert O. So I think he'll be okay. It'll be the classic. Well, he's touchdown dependent, like every other tight end.
Like
everybody
else,
entire
not
position.
in the top three. He's tight end. He's touchdown dependent.
He could be this year's Dawson Knox. He's going to score 9 touchdowns and be awesome for everybody. All right. Well, that is it for the show. Well, at least for the position breakdown. But actually, I think you gave your standings predictions earlier. But that's how we finish off all of these. So, what was your standings prediction for this division?
I think it ends up Chargers, Chiefs, Raiders, Broncos.
AJ?
Oh, man, that's tough. I've heard a lot of good arguments on all sides today. May have to flip flop here, but no, I'm gonna go KC, Chargers, Vegas, and Denver.
I'm actually Chargers, KC, Denver, Raiders. I think Denver's still got a good enough team there and a good enough defense and add Russ. Give him a few weeks to figure it out. They're gonna turn some heads.
So the Raiders go from playoff team to garbage. Okay. All right.
Honestly, they can all make the playoffs.
That's a third bye. That's a third bye.
Let's be real. They could legit all make the playoffs because there's some kind of teams in the AFC.
I mean, or it could just be like baseball. Everybody makes the playoffs now. So
the NFL's trying. I feel like they've fought for more playoff teams. But anyway. All right, Howard. Thank you for coming on and talking some AFC West with us. We enjoy you coming on. Always a fun time. Remind everybody where they can find you on Twitter and what you got going on over at FA this year.
All right. Well, you can find Twitter. I think that's here
somewhere. Yeah.
Yep.
There
Perfect.
It is.
Right on.
Yeah.
Hey.
God, this guy, total professional. Nope.
So follow me on Twitter at RotoBuzzGuy. You can hear me Monday through Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, channel 87. The Ante Up podcast is coming back soon.
Nice.
So you guys will be able to listen to that with me and Adam Ronis. And then find all my work and stuff over at fantasyalarm.com. That's and you know what? Every weekend in the New York Post.
Nice.
It's not bad, right?
All right.
Not too
Still
bad.
hustling. I'm
You're
still
not
hustling
busy.
after all
You're
these
not
years.
busy at all, man.
Yeah. I got
Always a
days
grind.
off,
What's that?
I said I got days off, yeah.
Oh, days
No.
off. That would be
That'd be fantastic.
amazing.
Yes.
Right?
Sports doesn't sleep.
Nope. All right, man. Well, Howard, thank you for
so
coming
much.
on. Have a good night.
Awesome
and
show, as always.
we'll have to do it again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys. Always a pleasure joining you.
All right. Thanks, Howard. Have a good one.
All right, AJ, that is it for the show. Next week, let me go over to the schedule here. We are doing the NFC East with Rudy Gamble next Thursday, but Monday,
yeah,
the big show
before Thursday,
Monday night, the Scott Fishbowl themed charity show that we do to raise money for MS. Check out my Twitter for all the information. I'm sure I'll be tweeting out some more reminders this weekend about it, but we do raise money for multiple sclerosis, which is unfortunately something I was diagnosed with a few years ago. So yeah, if you can tune into that show or donate or whatever, just enjoy yourselves. We're just having a bunch of good guests on and just having some fun for a few hours and hoping we can raise a bunch of money for that cause. So tune in and enjoy it. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And yeah, that's it for the show.
All right.
Peace.
See you next week.